Hi there, it's Rebecca. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make these lips that are featured on these two cards using different sized heart stamps. Now, I wanted to make a very Valentine's Day-ish card, and as you can see, I've used lots of lips on the front of this card panel. I found I didn't have any sort of lip stamp, so what I chose to do is use these hearts that are in the I'm Our Yours stamp set by My Favorite Things and make lips of my own, I guess you could say. I started by stamping the largest heart in the stamp set using In the Buff My Favorite Things hybrid ink. And it's important to use ink that is going to work with Copics. And these My Favorite Things hybrid inks work great with Copics. I stamped the first heart, and as you can see, I stamped it sideways, and I stamped the other heart right next to it. I connected more of the bottom part of the hearts together than I did the top. And this works really well when you go to outline your lips because it gives more of a curvature at the bottom and creates more of a V at the top, as you can see here. Now, it also creates a little bit of a center, sort of a triangle in the center, like where if you were to pucker up your lips, you'd have a little bit of a shadow there. So when you're outlining the two stamps that are hearts that are stamped close together, just remember to leave that little space open because we're going to actually be giving that a little bit of shadow with some warm grays. So, and also, as you can see, I drew in where the lips would part. And I did that with a darker shade. I did it with R29, and then I filled it in with R24, which is actually the lightest color I'm going to be using. And I just colored over all of the area that I outlined. And now we're going to be going back and forth with some different reds, and that's okay because we want them all to blend together pretty well. So going over it a couple times is going to do nothing but make it look better. Now, I did choose to use the R89 as the darkest shade in my lips, and I did go slightly over the outline and feathered in a little bit towards the bottom of the lips and a little bit towards the top, just to add a little bit of dimension and also to make the lips bright red and very Valentine's Day-ish. Now, I went back over the R89 with my R29 and really blended it really, really well. And I remembered to go in to where the lips part to make sure I blend that out too. I went over the R29 with the R27 and around that little space in the middle, and then went over the entire image with the R24, which this gives it a really, really nice blend, as you can see here. Now it looks like lips, but some things we're going to do to this is going to just really, really make it look like lips. So just hold on, you'll see it keeps looking better and better. Now I used my W3 and W5 to go into that center and just create a little bit of shadow. I also went over the part in the lips just to give it a little bit of a shadow too. After I use the W3, I use a little bit W5 just to darken it, and there you go. There's your pair of lips from a heart stamp. Now, to make them look shiny, because you have to have lip gloss for Valentine's Day, you have to be super shiny, I used my Uniball Signo white gel pen and just gave a little highlight towards the top of the lips and around the bottom, and then covered it with glossy accents. Now for the rest of this card, I used the My Favorite Things in the Mail stamp set, and I added sentiments here and there around my card. I also used some more of the hearts on the heart panel and filled them in with Copic markers. And then I also used the little heart that is in the Love is in the Mail stamp set and just stamped randomly throughout my card panel until it was full and it was the way I liked it. Now for the sentiment, I needed something pretty plain, so I used the oval frames dies by My Favorite Things, cut from black paper and white paper. I used the white paper for where the sentiment's going to go and used the black just for the frame. I stamped out the I Love You More sentiment from Essential Sentiments by My Favorite Things with white embossing powder, heat embossed it, and then I cut it from it's one of the tag builder dies by My Favorite Things, and attached that to the center of my oval. I also made a real small pair of lips to go right above my sentiment. And as you can see, the white panel is lifted up on some fun foam to give it some dimension, and so is the sentiment itself. Now, for this little owl, for the second card that I made, I wanted to give her big lips, because when I saw this little owl, I thought, she just looks like she is ready for some smooching. So I went ahead and masked off with some washi tape just the center there where her beak is. And I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with my favorite things, black licorice hybrid ink. And I removed the mask, and my short fingernails are giving me a fit, so I have to use my paper piercer to get that mask off. And then I went ahead and stamped the image. Now you can see it'll leave a little bit of a blank space, but that's okay because we're going to fill that in with a Copic multiliner as soon as we get our lips stamped. So I went back to the In the Buff hybrid ink and stamped the hearts on her lips or on her face the same way we created the big set of lips, but I just lined it up real carefully. In fact, you can see my big head in here, trying to get it lined up so it fits well between her eyes. So for these, I did the exact same process as I did before. I just outlined the lips with my one of my red markers. And truthfully, as long as you leave a little bit of highlight, the order of your markers isn't going to matter so much. You really have to get a good blend. And if you want the darker edges, the darker towards the edges, just concentrate that there and work lighter as you go in. But remember, where the lips will touch, there'll be a little bit of a shadow there. So you can add a darker red there, or even shade it in with one of the warm grays that we use for the center of the lips. To add a little bit more depth and make them look a little bit more realistic. Now, to cover up those lines, I did use the 0.1 Copic multiliner, and I just drew in, now my hand's in the way, but you can see I just drew in where the stamp did not stamp, and it's really easy, it's pretty much straight lines. And then I also traced over those lips with that multiliner. And then I added a little bit more of the R89 just to really give it a good Valentine's Day red. And like I said, I just followed the same process with these small little lips as I did with the big ones, just going back and forth and making sure my blends were nice and smooth. And again, for the center, I did use the warm gray 5 and the warm gray 3. Just to add, it looks a little bit like a shadow, and it just kind of gives it a nice touch. And with these small lips as well, I did give them the lips highlights with my white Uniball Signo pen, and it really makes them just look like shiny, glossy, in a magazine lips, I suppose you'd say. But it turned out really cute. And once you add glossy accents, the white from the Uniball Signo pen does dull a little bit, but it still turns out really cute. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again soon. Thanks.